Like, even in the playoffs last year, do we not remember when Caitlin Clark is shooting a layup and she's in the air and Marina Mabrey commits a block, a hit on the arm, a blocking foul, like whatever hit on the arm foul, everything. She just comes late and is like, Caitlin's not getting a layup. Jumps sideways into her, takes her arms out, knocks Caitlin on the ground, and then stops because she knows she's fouled, and the referees are like, play on, play on.
The WNBA is currently caught in a scandalous secret, a stark and infuriating reality that began as whispers among the most dedicated fans and has now erupted into a thunderous roar from the sidelines. There's an undeniable sense that this league is being shamelessly rigged, and what's truly astonishing is that they aren't even attempting to hide it anymore. The recent clash between the Indiana Fever and the reigning champion New York Liberty wasn't merely another game on the...
It is kind of interesting that Caitlin Clark hasn't been to the...
I feel like I'm getting hammered. I don't know. I appreciate Christy getting a tech too. Like, I don't know.
Transformed into a glaring, irrefutable indictment of the WNBA's integrity. This particular matchup was supposed to be a shining beacon for the sport, a dazzling display of star power, incredibly high stakes with playoff implications, and the electrifying energy of a sold-out, roaring home crowd in Indianapolis. It promised the intensity of a true playoff preview.
Free throw line at all.
Featuring two of the league's most thrilling and dynamic teams going head-to-head in front of a massive national audience. By all accounts, it should have been a monumental victory for the WNBA, a moment to truly solidify its growing popularity and prestige. But, as seems to be a recurring theme with the WNBA, controversy was destined to hijack the narrative.
No pass shot possessions for New York. Clark, step back three. Oh, she hit it! And draws the foul! Foul defending. Clark trying to create some airspace. Long three at the horn. Oh!
And once again, the source of that controversy stemmed directly and unambiguously from the officials. The Indiana Fever, a team that has cultivated arguably the most passionate, vocal, and intimidating home crowd in the entire WNBA, were brazenly and unmistakably robbed in their own arena.
It was one of the worst referee games I've seen.
The referees for again, what, the second game in a row, I guess? Definitely for the second game of the season, the referees swallowed their freaking whistles.
I, along with countless other horrified viewers, witnessed it live on CBS. Fans across the nation were left utterly bewildered, many erupting into uncontainable fury at their screens. The game was marred by an alarming cascade of missed calls, perplexing foul allocations, and critical, game-altering moments that consistently and suspiciously...
This is the best passing connection I can remember since John Stockton was feeding Karl Malone back in the Utah days.
Swung in favor of the reigning champions. The outrage that followed was instantaneous and widespread. Social media platforms exploded with a unified chorus of fans and seasoned analysts alike, all calling out the lopsided and frankly insane officiating. The narrative quickly solidified. The Fever had been cheated, a pattern of abuse, the Caitlin Clark problem. But this isn't just about a handful of isolated...
I mean, they have 9 baskets, and I have them unofficially with 7 right-handed layups.
Clark found a hole in the defense.
Now Caitlin's going to wait for Aliyah Boston here.
Goes over the top. Boston, the catch fading away, goes off the glass.
Bad calls in a single game. Though to be absolutely clear, the calls themselves were brutally impactful.
She was the #1 pick in 2023.
And we'll delve into their specifics in just a second. The deeper, far more insidious issue at play here is that this particular game was merely one glaring example within a much larger, deeply disturbing pattern. This isn't new. It's a systematic problem that began last year, escalated dramatically during the preseason, and has now reached an undeniable boiling point just a few games into the current regular season. If you believe for a second that this sounds like an exaggeration, prepare to be stunned when you hear the shocking statistics that meticulously detail precisely how skewed and unfavorable the officiating has been against the Fever throughout this season. This isn't an anomaly confined to just one or two matchups. It's a pervasive issue affecting every single game, and the compiled numbers are frankly downright embarrassing for a professional sports league. It's gotten so egregious that even the Fever themselves, from their coaching staff...
Literally, the Fever have a chance to win the game, to go up 2, they jump through her back. Caitlin Clark shooting a shot, and Natasha Howard does the dumbest thing she can possibly do by fouling Caitlin Clark on a 3-point shot, and you ignored it.
There are multiple fouls on the play, multiple fouls. She hacks her across the wrist as she's reaching to try to slap the ball away, and it was just an arm hack. It's just a hack. And then as Caitlin tries to go up into, she's going left, but she's trying to go up into her shooting motion, there's body foul, and then there's an arm foul.
To their star players have demonstrably reached their breaking point. Head coach Stephanie White, typically a picture of composed professionalism, didn't mince words after the devastating Liberty game. Her message was neither vague nor diplomatic. It was a straight-up, unambiguous warning shot fired directly at the league's officiating core. And even Caitlin...
And this is the worst one. There's one foul. There's 2 fouls. Then she holds her, watch this, with her shoulder and on her arm when she follows through and then fouls her for the 4th time on her arm.
And Clark, a player who usually maintains an almost superhuman level of composure and sportsmanship on the court, couldn't help but deliver a subtle yet pointed jab of her own. A clear sign that the frustration has become unbearable. This is another year and depressing.
To the hip. Clark jumps it up. Bonner blocked at the top.
Here and Caitlin.
Another blatant instance of WNBA referees consistently dropping the ball, failing repeatedly to make the correct, impartial calls when it comes to the league's most watched player, Caitlin Clark. What we are currently witnessing, what has legions of fans, respected analysts, and even fellow players so profoundly incensed, isn't some inexplicable one-off bad night.
The New York Liberty were at the line 32 times to the Fever's 15, and it was just so obvious. Now, I get calling fouls, I get not calling fouls, but in this instance, there were similar fouls that were not getting called on the New York Liberty that were going towards the Fever. If you're gonna call every ticky-tacky foul, okay, call it, but call it for both teams now.
But then there's this.
By the officials. It's a deeply entrenched, long-standing, frustrating, and arguably even dangerous pattern that can be traced all the way back to her rookie season. From the exact moment Caitlin Clark stepped onto a WNBA court, it became immediately undeniable.
They just kept shoving Caitlin. They're like, well, they can't just keep calling fouls. I'm like, they're literally just running around hacking her. The referees have made it like a point that this is how you beat the Fever. You hack them. You don't even, it's not being physical, you just hack them. Because the referees are going to allow them be hacked. Late in the game with the Fever, hack them. Not being physical, hack them. Don't go for the ball, hack them.
Undeniably obvious that she was going to be treated differently than any other player. The physicality she endured was ramped up to an extreme degree. Opposing players seemed to take extra liberties, delivering hits and shoves.
What was that play? Oh my God, this is rigged. This is rigged. She got yanked, fell on her hip. That's a hack. That's a hack. That's a hack. Oh my God, they hacked Luana Bonner and they hacked Caitlin Clark. They are both hacks. They are both hacks. They hacked Fever twice, and then there was a phantom foul called on Sabrina Ionescu.
First,
that would normally draw a whistle. And the referees? They appeared to simply swallow their whistles, opting...
They've done a great job of rigging this. They've done a great job of rigging this league. The league, they're not even being subtle. They're not even being subtle. Oh my God, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing.
To let incredibly physical play go unpunished when it was directed at Clark. This pattern started early and persisted often, and there were undeniable moments throughout last year where Caitlin looked visibly rattled, perplexed by the lack of calls. "I feel like I'm getting hammered," she candidly admitted after one particularly rough outing, her exasperation clear. "I don't know. I appreciate Christy getting a tech too. I don't know." The frustration was palpable, even for a player renowned for her mental toughness.
This is another year and another case of WNBA referees dropping the ball, not making the right calls when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
And then, of course, there was the infamous Kennedy Carter incident. A blindside hit off the ball that sent shockwaves throughout the league. What was clearly a frustration foul, a deliberate act of aggression, was unbelievably labeled by the officials as a mere common foul, not a flagrant. For legions of fans, that moment served as a boiling point. If that egregious foul wasn't going to be upgraded in real time, what possibly would? The implication was clear. Clark was not being protected. And the worst part? The litany of
I can't believe what I'm about to say. The Indiana Fever, with the strongest, loudest, most intimidating home court advantage in all the WNBA, just got robbed at home. I saw it with my own two eyes live on CBS.
On-calls didn't magically cease there. They followed Caitlin directly into the high-stakes environment of the playoffs. Do we not recall last year's playoffs when Caitlin Clark was attempting a crucial layup, airborne and vulnerable, and Marina Maberry committed a clear, unequivocal block, a hit on the arm, a definite blocking foul? Maberry came in late, jumped sideways directly into her, took out Caitlin's arms, forcefully knocked her to the ground, and then simply stopped, knowing full well she had committed an obvious foul. And the referees? Their inexplicable call, play on, play on. Honestly, there are so many undeniable examples that it would be impossible to fit them all into a single video. You could easily produce an entire hour-long documentary solely dedicated to cataloging the endless parade of missed calls against Caitlin Clark. Look, nobody is asking for a bubble wrap rulebook here. Players are always going to play Caitlin hard, and they should play her hard because she's Caitlin Clark, arguably the best player on the court on most nights, and that talent naturally comes with a target on your back. There is absolutely no issue with hard fouls or allowing the game to flow with a certain level of physicality.
The WNBA referees are getting destroyed. And I mean, they are getting crushed online. Honestly, they're getting crushed during every single game. I've seen a lot of people come out and say, the WNBA referees, is this what it's about? Because they're the worst referees in the history of any referees.
But the core problem, the infuriating and game-altering inconsistency, has been glaring. The Fever consistently, disproportionately, get the short end of the foul stick, and things did not improve in the slightest as the preseason unfolded. It was kind of interesting that Caitlin Clark...
The Indiana Fever this season have a discrepancy minus 31 when it comes to free throws. That doesn't seem right.
That's right.
Clark hasn't been to the free throw line at all despite demonstrably receiving constant contact and being fouled relentlessly. 0 free throws. Not because she wasn't getting fouled, but because the referees were flat out ignoring obvious infractions. In just the first few regular season games, a clear and disturbing pattern emerged. Clark drives to the basket, takes significant contact, gets hacked, and nothing. The whistles remain stubbornly, inexplicably, in the pockets of the officials. Eventually, the mounting frustration visibly boiled over.
So by White speaking up, not only is it a tactic to get a better whistle from the refs, but it's also a statement to say, I've got your backs to the team. And I think it needed to be said, particularly when applying it to the Indiana Fever.
You could see it etched on her face in her body language, and you could definitely feel it in the arena when she picked up an astonishing technical foul simply for pointing out the undeniable and painfully obvious disparity. And in the 3 regular season games leading up to the highly anticipated marquee matchup against the Liberty, the imbalance persisted without abatement. Stephanie White is about to lay out the raw numbers, and they are truly mind-blowing. We're discussing a clear-as-day, irrefutable disparity in officiating. Yet, Some still inexplicably tried to dismiss it, labeling it early season stuff, clinging to the naive hope that things would somehow settle down and the officiating would magically become more consistent. Well, the Fever's high-profile game against the Liberty, the defending champions, was designed.
It's taken 4 games for Stephanie White to say, you know what? I've had absolute enough. Game 1, okay. Game 2, okay. Game 3, all right. But today was the last straw.
Shout out to Stephanie White. The Fever coach stood up for her team. She demanded respect and she blasted the refs.
Designed to be the ultimate test, the crucible that would reveal the true nature of the officiating. Preseason and early regular season.
I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing, that it doesn't go both ways, or it hasn't gone both ways.
The whistles stay pocketed. The troubling narrative of unfair officiating against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever didn't magically disappear with the transition from the regular season to the preseason. In fact, it only intensified.
Stephanie White has lost her mind over it, and I don't blame her. I mean, at least she's standing up for the team, making it a public issue, so now the WNBA is at least on notice that everybody knows it now, that this team is not getting any calls.
The initial games of the preseason and the very start of the regular season revealed a pattern so blatant, it defied any rational explanation. We saw game after game where
BG, right now you have 10 points, 5 rebounds. We see the Atlanta Dream as being very... Right now she's talking to the refs about holding. We're going to send it back to you guys.
Very important question.
But yeah, I did not my best shooting night. I thought I could take care of the ball a little bit better. Had some tough ones, ones where my arm was getting grabbed, but whatever. But yeah, just keep adding it there, keep shooting it.
This pattern continued relentlessly in the first few regular season games, leading up to a much-anticipated clash with the new
accept officiating without
the imbalance became
even
more pronounced, setting the stage.
Yeah, when it comes to accepting, it's like we don't really have a choice because they're going to call what they want to call.
We're not talking about a few debates.
So for us, I mean, even for me, just I miss some of those easy around the rim. I think for me, I have to put them in the rim for just post-talk. And we just have to finish through contact. If we don't get it, we don't get it, but we have to give ourselves the best opportunity.
There were still those who try to brush it off, dismissing it as just early season stuff, suggesting that officiating would naturally settle down and become more consistent as the season progressed. They argued that it was too early to draw conclusions, that the referees were still finding their rhythm. Well, the Fever's marquee matchup against the Liberty, the defending champions, was supposed to be the perfect crucible to test that theory. It was the moment where the officiating had to be fair, where the narrative of early season adjustments would either hold up or crumble under the intense spotlight. What unfolded, however, it underscored the demoralizing effect of biased officiating, where all the effort, all the heart poured into a game, can feel undermined when the calls consistently don't go your way, despite the team's relentless effort. This shared sentiment of frustration, expressed subtly by Clark and with resigned pragmatism by Boston, painted a clear picture of a locker room grappling with a systemic issue that impacts not just their individual performance, but the collective spirit of the team. Conclusion: a league at a crossroads. New eyes, old problems.